time, and I think the president set the exact tone for the nation and those of us here in Washington. Yesterday morning on the way to work, we heard the first explosion and then saw the plume of smoke coming up from the Pentagon in what was an unthinkable act. And the position here in Congress, I think, and what most of my colleagues are talking about, was first a deep sense of prayer and concern for victims and families and friends, a sickening, gut-wrenching feeling from the depths of your heart and soul that something horrific had happened. Then the opportunity to roll up our sleeves and get to work, and that's what we're going to do here in Washington today. We'll be convening at 10 o'clock with a specific resolution and then more briefings about what actually transpired, and then the grim resolve to go after these perpetrators and find them and make sure that they are brought to justice. This is tantamount to an act of war, and I think that's the mood here in Congress. Yesterday at around 4 o'clock, with all of the facilities, including the Capitol, the Supreme Court, Library of Congress that surround the immediate campus, all the office buildings were, in fact, evacuated. So it was an eerie, almost surreal feeling down here yesterday. But I can assure you, after having met in briefings last night with both houses, the resolve on the part of the United States Congress is to get back to business and demonstrate that democracy will move forward, and that we have this resolve to make sure that we both help those in need of assistance and aid, including FEMA relief for New York City and here in Washington, D.C.
Congressman, you said that what happened yesterday is tantamount to an act of war. Last night, President Bush indicated in his address that if there's a foreign country that's involved in this, even by way of casual sponsorship, that they would be held just as responsible. Would you support declaring war on a country like that, even if its involvement is indirect? I
think that is the only course that we can take, that we can no longer allow these nations who harbor these terrorists to get away with hiding behind some cloak or veil that they're not responsible here. They're just as responsible, and if they do not cooperate and turn over these perpetrators once we've identified them, then I believe the president is absolutely correct. We can make no distinction here.
Does it seem possible to you that a small group of terrorists alone are responsible for this, or does it seem to you probable, if not very likely, that there had to be a larger element like a foreign country involved?
Well, it's pretty clear that it had to be well-funded. It was strategically carried out in military fashion. It's, as I said, the unthinkable happened. But before we jump to conclusions, I think that there's a lot more intelligence that has to be sifted through. But no one should doubt the resolve of the United States Congress to stand behind the president. We are all with our leadership on the steps of the Capitol building last evening. Many of us wanted to go back last night and send the message out to our citizens that we stand committed as a nation to stand together in this time of crisis. And I believe that the president and the administration will be granted full latitude to carry out whatever we need to get these perpetrators.
Congressman, there's a lot of speculation that Osama bin Laden may be behind these attacks. Is there any information that you're receiving that contradicts or maybe agrees with that speculation? Well, the briefings that we've had so far, everyone has been quick to point out that while clearly bin Laden is at the top of everyone's suspect list, that let's not rush to judgment here at this particular point. Let's make sure that we have the facts. But a lot of the initial facts point to the fact that he still remains top on the suspect list. All right.
Thank you very much, Congressman. Congressman John Larson from Washington on the phone this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Now, many people here in Connecticut are turning to religion to help them through this national tragedy. People gathered at the First Church of Christ in West Hartford yesterday to form a human chain of love. One way of coping, yesterday's horrible news. Also yesterday, Jews at Bethel Temple gathered and they prayed for peace.
It's America. that, really. It's too shocking, too near, right? New York, Washington.
It's unbelievable to think that this country, this wonderful country, had to suffer such a disaster.
We were all so upset at everything that had happened and just really overwhelmed with emotion. And we felt that we just couldn't stand around in silence.
There will be a candlelight vigil tonight at Central Connecticut State University at the Vance Academic Center.
Now, that service is one of several that are scheduled here in Connecticut today. In Glastonbury, there will be services at St. Dunstan's Church starting at 8 o'clock this morning. And tonight, the town of West Hartford will hold a community prayer service. That will happen on the town hall patio at 6 o'clock.
At 7:30 tonight, there will be an interfaith service at St. Bernadette Church in New Haven. And that'll be held by the Interfaith Cooperative Ministry and the New Haven Clergy Association. Also at 6 o'clock tonight in Hartford, there will also be services at the South Congregational Church on 227 Main Street. Obviously, there may be other services around Connecticut today and tonight, so if you'd like to call your local church or synagogue to find out more about that, you can.
Also, if you would like to help in other ways by donating blood, which they are in very high need of, you can give the Red Cross a call as well. Now, despite this horrific tragedy, there is other news this morning as well as traffic and weather, and we are going to try to update you on that as well.
And let's get a look on traffic because things are moving again today as people do go back to work and school. Matt McKenzie, good morning.
Good morning, David and Ellie. We do have a little bit of traffic southbound on 91 as you travel from exit 34 down towards exit 33. Over to I-84, we'll take a look at the Capitol Avenue exit where we do have some slow traffic, sun glare related out towards exit 44. Westbound side of I-84 is slowing 56 to the Bulkley Bridge. This is the City Street exit, courtesy of Hartford Traffic Operations, which moves along in decent shape. On the southbound side of 95, building through New Haven. In Norwalk, if your destination is New York, Lower Fairfield County looks to be in pretty decent shape. Matt McKenzie, 4-time Saver Traffic, brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
And we are going to move on to weather now. Miles Muzio joins us from the Weather Center with today's forecast. Good morning, Miles.
Good morning, Ellie, and good morning, David. The sun is rising brightly over Connecticut. Good morning, everybody. It's rising, and it's going to be a beautiful day today. And let's check out the current conditions. We're going to go to 3 Live WeatherNet right now and see how cool it is. It was a cool one this morning, got down into the 40s in some spots, officially down to 50 degrees. And right now it's 59 degrees with 78% humidity and a light east wind. Here are some temperatures around the state. You can see down to 48 degrees at Windham. Springfield 45 and 50, that's the low for the day officially at Windsor Locks. And Boston now 60 degrees. 58 in Providence, and 64 in New York. We've got clear skies, had clear skies all night long, light winds, and generally dry conditions, and that's why we cooled off as well as we did. And it looks as though we're going to see more high pressure move into the area. There is a low pressure system and a frontal system making its way out of the Great Lakes. Now, that won't affect us today, but tomorrow, later on in the day, going into the evening, we could see some rain from that. And also we have a couple of 3 of them in fact, Tropical Depression 8, Hurricane Aaron, and Tropical Storm Felix. The only one of any note is Tropical Depression number 8, which is expected to develop into a tropical storm by the name of Gabrielle. You can see it down there over Florida, and a lot of heavy rain from that. That thing could actually move out across western Florida, could move to the south of us. I don't think we're going to have any problem from that once it becomes a tropical storm, but nonetheless, there it is with 30-mile-per-hour winds. And Hurricane Aaron zipping off to the east, no problem there at all. We will have a nice day today, and for tomorrow, look for a cold front to approach. Much cooler air behind that. There should be some showers along the front, and then the front will go by, and first thing tomorrow morning, I think it's rather Friday morning, it's going to be cloudy. On Friday morning, much cooler. We should see a little bit of occasional light rain, but then things will improve during the day Friday as high pressure pushes on in. For today, in the marine environment, a south wind 10 to 15 knots and 1 to 2 foot seas. And as you can see, we're up into the 70s today and tomorrow. Then that front goes by, and on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, look for 60s for highs and overnight lows, particularly Saturday morning, getting kind of cool down into the low 40s, some spots into the mid and upper 30s, but it should be dry for this weekend after we have a little bit of rain late Thursday going into early Friday morning. David and Ellie, back to you.
All right, Miles, thank you very much. Well, we thought the big story yesterday was going to be the primary elections here in Connecticut. Obviously, that changed with what happened in Washington and New York, but in fact, the primary elections did go on yesterday here in Connecticut as scheduled. In
Harvard's mayoral primary, community activist Eddie Perez won a convincing victory, defeating challenger Robert Ludgin by more than a 2-to-1 margin. But Ludgin will still be on the November ballot anyway as a petitioning candidate, and so will the Reverend Nora Wyatt. They're going to face Republican Robert Yakamachi. That's after Mayor Mike Peters, of course, who announced he was not going to run for re-election. In New Haven, Mayor John DeStefano is the winner. This was one of the big races yesterday. DeStefano easily defeated State Senator Martin Looney. DeStefano goes on to face Republican Joel Schiavone in November. In Waterbury, they're still counting votes there. Just a few votes separate Michael Dardura and Lawrence DePillo in the Democratic primary. Ronald Napoli finished third. Election officials will not declare a winner until sometime this morning. We're told there could be a recount. Returning to our top story from yesterday, the terrorist attack, we have some newspaper headlines for you. We'll start with the Hartford Courant. This is the paper most of us will see today. If we can get it on camera 3, take a look at that. Act of war. Just a few letters there in bold type beneath that. Chilling precision. The attack is carried out. It says terrorists deliver death as America watches helplessly. And then there's a photograph of Manhattan and World Trade. And then this is interesting. And then we have the Wall Street Journal here as well, David, if you can hold that. The Journal, obviously a newspaper that's not given to hyperbole, but look at that. And it's just simply and bluntly put, terrorists destroy World Trade Center, hit Pentagon in raid with hijacked jets. And we also have a number of newspapers that echo the Hartford Courant sentiment, saying act of war. From the New Haven Register, we've got the Boston Herald with big bold letters just simply saying war. And finally, the Boston Globe yesterday compared quite a bit to December 7th, 1941, a day of infamy. FDR's famous quote, "A new day of infamy," according to today's headline, front page Boston Globe. You know, it was a horrific day yesterday. Many of us have been affected directly or indirectly by this tragedy. Our own Scott Haney actually was there during the first World Trade Center bomb attack back in 1993. And yesterday, remarkably, Scott was also in Manhattan, some blocks away from what occurred. Scott is there this morning. He's been giving us live reports both yesterday and this morning. Good morning, Scott.
David and Ellie, it is a beautiful, crystal clear day here, although the smoke continues to rise from a gaping hole, which used to be the World Trade Center. You can see it. I think that is still the smoke. Building number 7, which toppled and came to a crashing downfall yesterday, still continues to burn. The Verizon building, there is still fire burning there, and the firefighters are on the scene trying to do the best that they can to keep everything under control. You know, the thing is, there are so many different reactions to people here in the city, such a unique place, 8 million residents. One person just walked by and said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, "Well, we're from Hartford. We do, you know, we're from the CBS affiliate up there." He said, "Oh, welcome to hell." And I looked at him and said, "Oh, thank you." Another lady passed by and she said, "Can you tell me how to get to Macy's?" So you run the gamut of just how different people are feeling. I want to welcome in John and Lloyd. You guys, you live in the neighborhood, right? Where do you live? Right across the street?
I live on Bedford Street, right down here.
Lloyd, are you afraid to live in the city now?
I'd say that I am. I mean, ever since I saw the towers in flames yesterday, I've been pretty shaky. My wife is nervous. We wanted to leave, and then we figured maybe right now it's probably safer to be here instead of trying to get out. But I am very nervous.
But you're going to get through this, right?
Well, we have great neighbors here. We have New Yorkers are fantastic.
Absolutely. And people say New Yorkers are the hardest people. They're also the best people in the world, aren't they?
They most certainly are.
Thank you. All right. Let's keep the faith. John, thanks for joining us. Where do you live, John?
I live on Bleecker Street, a few blocks from here.
And you're out walking your dog this morning?
Yeah, I've got to get out in the morning. So it's a terrible thing. I mean, I know that the city will recover from it and that people will do the right thing. And we do have great faith in the police and fire department. But the scale of it is truly hard to comprehend.
When you woke up yesterday, we're less than 24 hours. It's not even a full day yet. A nice day yesterday?
I was preparing to teach, and my dog jumped with the first plane, when the first plane hit, and my apartment faces south, so I could see immediately what had happened, that it was a plane that had gone in.
And today it's a day later. Now what do you?
I would just hope that they can get as many people out as they can, and I think my sentiments are shared by most, if not all.